Have you ever turned up the volume to the max on your audio system and not gotten the punch you were looking for? Well, good news, because the 280F from Klipsch will solve that problem. Welcome to my review of the Klipsch 280F speaker. This is the same speaker as the 200FA speaker, but without the built-in Atmos sound. And since I feel I have no need for Atmos, since I got enough sound as it is, I went with the 280F. The 280F is the largest floor-standing speaker from Klipsch, before you venture over to the high-end range from Klipsch, which is the Palladium. These speakers seem to perform best when coupled with spikes. For some weird reason, the packaging came with just one set of spikes for one speaker, not two. But I didn't mind much, since I wasn't going to use these spikes anyway. I bought these, and I'm quite satisfied, as not only do they improve the sound, but it makes it easier for you to move the speaker about the room without having to lift it too much. Because the 280F is extremely heavy for its size. Although these speakers are easier to place than other speakers for best performance, I do recommend giving them a bit of space from your wall for best bass output. 1 meter, in fact, seemed to do the trick. It took me a very long time to break in these speakers, and a word of warning: these speakers will sound very harsh at the beginning. Do not return your speakers, because they are not broken. The treble will be dominating the sound at the start, because the bass and mid-range need to loosen up before the speakers behave normally. So do spend some time breaking in these speakers and have patience. One thing I did notice though, already after 24 hours mark, the speakers sounded very good even at low volumes. The harsh sound was gone, and the bass and mids had started to warm up a bit. It is an amazing feeling to actually get the whole sensation of music, not only at high volumes, but at low volumes as well. It took me a whopping 100 hours at moderate levels to break in these speakers fully. A long time, yes, but you will be awarded for your patience. Trust me. Once the speakers were broken in, I could turn up the volume, and I was awestruck. I was actually amazed at what happened. These speakers sound like you have a subwoofer turned on. There is so much bass to these speakers, in fact, that I had actually left my subwoofer off on more occasions now than I used to, as there seriously is no need for one. I did try to leave the subwoofer on for Saving Private Ryan, but I had to turn off the subwoofer. There was just too much bass, as things were falling off shelves. The bass from the speakers alone hits like a freight train. My Dali Concept 10 speakers were much larger than these speakers and produced a lot of bass, but these speakers produce even more bass and are smaller. Hard to believe, but it is true. The mid-range of these speakers does exactly the same as the bass does. The more you turn up the volume, the more you have the vocalist in your face. It feels like you are at the live show, and that is always a good thing. How close do you want Justin Bieber to be? Just turn up the volume and you can kiss him, if that is what you're into. And the treble? The treble is crisp, but not too intense as previous experiences with Klipsch, but I do have to mention that people perceive sound differently. The treble can be overwhelming to some. Do remember that these are the biggest speakers from Klipsch, and at high volumes can rip your face off. I'm not kidding. There's no distortion in the sound, no distortion whatsoever, so the treble will increase in intensity the more you increase the volume. As Kyle Reese said about these speakers back in 1984, "Listen and understand that Klipsch is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are deaf." So I must mention that if you do feel the treble is a bit too bright, you can downgrade your speaker cables, which actually helps. There are some very cheap speaker cables on Walmart, for example. There are also amplifiers which work really well with Klipsch. For example, Marantz and Nod are good choices for a warm treble with not too much bite. Denon and Yamaha have a neutral sound across the board, while Pioneer and Onkyo might give you more than you bargain for in the high end of things. With that out of the way, I could really crank it up on my Marantz 6010. For sound tests this time, I chose unsigned artists instead of Justin Bieber. Why? Because many unsigned artists can't afford to master their songs, for example, and crank it up to 11, like Justin Bieber can. As Klipsch themselves say, prepare to hear what you've been missing. And I really wanted to get the best out of these sometimes muddied recordings on 128 MP3 files, or even worse. Vampire. Intro to Mephisto. This atmospheric track to set a scary mood is by Vampire. The Klipsch speakers filled my entire room with this eerie and cold atmosphere. Since this is a soundtrack piece, there was no beat, but with the 280F speakers, I couldn't hear that this was an MP3 file. Everything sounded so amazing, and I wish my role-playing friends were here to hear this. Maybe I'll invite them to a game of Magic the Gathering next week and put this song on. That should set the tone nicely. Cyclodyne, Octal Pipe. A drum and bass track also from mp3.com. This is Legend's Cyclodyne. This track is fitted with plenty of beats and bass to test my speakers out. My walls were shaking, but the speakers managed to reproduce the kick and the bass that I'm used to from my SVS subwoofer. No need to turn the subwoofer on then, for this track either, it seems. Excellent. Afshin Faratsfar. Seduction 2, Dance of Conquest. Time for some classical music, and this artist is also from legendarymp3.com. Afshin Faratsfar should be a well-known name to those familiar with underground classic music, and the Klipsch speaker reproduced this music like you were there at his live performance. These speakers really are that good. If you don't want the live feeling, you can just turn the music down a bit. That's just incredible. Vocoderman, Robot. Yet another legend from mp3.com this. Here I'll let you listen to the music for yourself. Enjoy. Valkyrie. Time for a break in unsigned art music and a time for a movie. Another war movie which demands a lot from your system is Valkyrie. But it really doesn't matter, come prepared with the 280F speakers. Tom Cruise gives us yet another brilliant performance, and with the 280F speaker and sidekicks, you can't really go wrong with them. Bring in the popcorn, because this movie is a blast. Delta 9 vs. Beck. Want. Pop music so sublime, so wonderful, I don't understand why Delta 9 ain't as famous as Justin Bieber by now. Just listen to this incredible song, and on the 280F speakers, this song has never sounded better. Spark, Voxerite. Time for something truly sad and melancholic. Spark is one of those artists lost with MP3com's demise 15 years ago. The Klipsch 280F again leaves no stones unturned and brings in this incredible and heartbreaking song to my living room, and again shows that I've made the right decision in my choice of speaker. Conclusion. If you really want the best of the best in sound, for this price, there really is no other speaker to buy. If you really want to spoil yourself with great, clear, and yes, brutal sound, buy the 280F floor standing speaker from Klipsch. The speaker which gives you the music the way you want and takes no prisoners. And last but not least, it's me. I also was on mp3.com at the time, and I released a number of tracks there. So I'm gonna play Water for you now by Xanitra live through Spotify. Let's hope that works.